be. For me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to this Louie T Network exclusive. Recapping week 1 of college football. I do this every single year. It's like clockwork. I get excited about football and the return of the normalcy of footballs on Saturday, NFL on Sunday, and just having football on the television screen. And so I overindulge in a product that generally I don't overindulge in. So college football is something that I dibble and I dabble. You know, it's on, it's background noise. I love the feature that YouTube TV has offered this year. They've added this split screen option. Multi-view is what they call it, where you can watch 4 games at once. That's heaven. So needless to say, I watched a lot of college football today, way more than I probably will the rest of the year. And I always have these, hot takes at the beginning of the college football season after I've watched 1 week and think I know everything. But I watched quite a few games because I had, 4 games on at once. If I had to have one critique of the multi-view is I would like to put the 4 games in myself. Like, they give you a preset 4 games. They don't give you the option to actually mix and match them yourself. I'd like to mix and match myself, but that's nor here nor there. Week 1 was compelling in certain spots. Most of the games weren't really all that fascinating. You don't get a lot of great matchups in week 1 of college football. The best matchup that we'll get from a ranking standpoint is on Sunday night. You'll get LSU and Florida State tomorrow night. That's pretty much the game of the weekend. There is a game, I think Duke and Clemson play on Monday. I have no idea who this Duke quarterback is that's supposed to be good. Mel Kiper has him as his 3rd rated quarterback heading into, the season in terms of, draft stock and things of that nature. So I'll have to watch just to see if this kid is any good. I will tell you that Caleb Williams is as advertised. We'll talk about him. I got to watch him again today. I will talk about Drake May. He is as advertised. Got to watch him. We'll talk about him a little bit later on. Obviously, the game of the day. You know what? I had to do this video because I'm not going to be working on Monday. It's a holiday. My wife is out of town. I'm going to pick her up Monday. She'll have a million stories to tell me. I'll have the kids all day. They don't go to daycare. It's closed. Obviously, it's a federal holiday. Nobody's open. So I have all the kids. So I won't be able to work Monday. So, and I kind of realized that. And I said, by the time I get to a podcast, probably on Wednesday, nobody wants to talk about college football anymore. It's a dead issue. At least I wouldn't want to talk about it. I wouldn't want to hear about it by then. So I said, let me just jump on and do something real quick to get all of this off my chest because I saw a lot of football. I want to talk about it. So obviously the Colorado TCU game, which we talked about on Thursday on the podcast, which was going to be a big game just because of Dion Sanders, Coach Prime, and all that had been said about him. And I mean, ESPN just went in. They had one guy say that they had a top 20 worst roster in college football. Do you know how many teams exist in CBF, or CFB? Do you guys understand how many teams are in CFB? Like FBS. Just FBS. We're not even going FCS, none of that. Just FBS. Do you know how many teams exist? And guys said top 20 worst roster. Like bottom 20 of college football. Wow. Interesting. Okay. They want to hate. And when you're great, they always want to hate. And so I found it laughable that they thought that they weren't going to show up for Coach Prime, and that all the stuff that he was doing was due to the fact that he was at Jackson State playing in the SWAC, coaching at HBCU, and he couldn't bring that same kind of style of play and ability to a Power 5 conference. So this was a big draw. Everybody was watching. You know what I realized today? I didn't really think about it in this context. Dion Sanders is great for college football. He's a needle mover. Do you know how many people will watch? Who gives a shit about the Colorado Buffaloes? They lost 11 games. They were 1-11 last year. Who gives two shits unless you are a graduate of Colorado and that is your alma mater? Who gives a shit about Colorado? They haven't been relevant since the early 90s. Who cares about Colorado? Cordell Stewart and Michael Westbrook in 94 is probably the last time the Colorado Buffaloes have been relevant in college football. Who cares? Dion Sanders makes you care. Coach Prime and his presence makes you care. Everybody was watching that game today. Anybody who was anybody was tweeting about it, talking about it. You couldn't turn on your television and not see Dion Sanders at either the press conference, after the game, on the field. It was amazing. And it was worth the price of admission. That game was fan-effing-tastic. You know what? It was the most interesting game going into week one, and it turned out to be the best game of week number one. Every other game was pretty much a two-score, win for whatever team that was supposed to win. I did see that Baylor got upset by Texas State. I didn't watch any of that game. That's Texas State's first win as a FBS team. Good for them. That's their first win over a Power 5 team, I should say, since they've come over as an FBS team. Good for them. Beat Baylor 42-31. But I didn't watch any of that game. But for the most part, if you were supposed to win, you won today because no one was playing any tough competition today. So that game was supposed to be a blowout. The Colorado Buffaloes were supposed to be 20-point underdogs. TCU's ranked 17th in the nation. They're at home. They went all the way to the national championship game, got their doors blown off by Georgia last year. Obviously, they're not the same team. Most of that team is now either in the NFL or moved on and they're doing something else. So it's not the same squad, obviously, but they were showing respect. And it was a fun game to watch. So every year, we see a quarterback almost every year, not every year, almost every year, though, we see a quarterback come out of nowhere that isn't in the preseason rankings in terms of quarterbacks that have a draftable profile. Every year we see a guy come out of nowhere and end up as a first-round pick. And I think Shedeur Sanders could end up being one of those dudes. Like, he wasn't anywhere to be found in Mel Kiper's top, I think, 5 quarterbacks. He wasn't anywhere near the top of that thing. We saw what he did at Jackson State. He put up cartoon numbers at Jackson State. And because I said, man, I think this dude can play. I watched him at Jackson State. I watched more Jackson State football than I should be watching. Okay. And again, that's due to Dion Sanders, right? That's the Dion effect. That's the Prime effect. And I said, man, Shedeur looks like he got a hell of a skill set on him. But everybody just, that's Jackson State, Now what you going to say? And again, he's got to consistently do this. He's got to continue to put up big numbers. The man threw for 510 yards in his first game against a Power 5 conference team on the road, no less. Are you kidding me? The man had over 80% completion percentage. At one point, it was at 90. He had only missed 3 passes, and he had already thrown damn near 35 passes. He only missed 3 passes in the game. Like, this shit was cartoonish. And these weren't dink and dunkers either. These weren't slip screens, tunnel screens, slants. He was pushing the ball down the field. And he had some drops too. The Hunter kid that I walked away mesmerized by, playing both sides of the football, playing over 115 snaps in the game. He dropped 2 passes, one for a touchdown early in the game. Imagine what Shedeur Sanders' numbers would have looked like if he'd have caught both of those passes he dropped earlier in the game, especially the touchdown. Are you kidding me? That was a fun game to watch, back and forth. I love Dion's pettiness after the game, keeping receipts. Like, the media don't like to be called out on their bullshit. I love it because the media are like trolls on social media. They love to throw stones and then hide their hand. So I love the fact that Dion was extra petty. And, you know, some of the people in the media are like, oh, he should be humble. It's just one game. F that. You didn't even think I was going to get this one game. So I ain't trying to hear that. Now, I'm going to live this up. And we're going to come out. We're going to be hungry next week at home. And guess what? Next week against Nebraska. Nebraska is ass every year. Every year, people keep trying to build Nebraska back up into the team they were in the mid-90s when they had Lawrence Phillips and what was my guy's name that I used to love at the quarterback position? Tommy, why can't I think of his damn? Tommy Frazier. Like, people want them so badly to be back to those days. They'll never be that team. I shouldn't say that. They haven't been that team in almost 4 decades. Definitely 3, for sure. And somehow they get a new coach, and every year they're supposed to be relevant again, and they're just not. Guess what? We'll be tuning in next week when Fox's whole crew is heading out to Boulder, Colorado. When's the last time anybody took their entire crew out to Boulder, Colorado to host a pregame show? The game was just ridiculous. That kid, what's his name? I gotta get his name because I can't keep calling him that kid. He was too damn good today to not have his name. Let me get his name real quick because I was blown away by him, man. Let's see. Travis Hunter. Let me make sure I remember his damn name. Travis Hunter was ridiculous. I haven't seen anything like that since Charles Woodson. And it was crazy because going into halftime, Dion said if he would have caught those 2 passes, you go ahead and get him the Heisman right now. And I was like, Heisman? What are you talking about? Because it hadn't dawned on me that this man was playing both sides of the ball at that time. And maybe I wasn't dialed in as much as I should have been in the first half because I had all 4 games up at once. That was my first time having it on YouTube TV. And so I was all over the place. You know, with the 4 games, you can change the sound. So I was all over the place, you know. So maybe I wasn't locked in like I should have been. And I was on the phone with my homeboys. So I might have had it on mute, or I might not have been listening well enough. But when he said that, it triggered something in me. Like, Heisman, what are you talking about, Dion? Are you being over the top right now? Are you being extra? Nah, I get it now. We don't see this in college football. Dudes don't play both ways. That was a phenomenal performance. But it wasn't just him. As I mentioned, Shedeur Sanders was absolutely ridiculous. 38 of 47, 510 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's stupid. I don't know if I've ever seen a QBR at 90.6. Like, that ain't passer rating. That's a QBR. Like, that's insane. 4 dudes over 100 yards receiving: Dylan Edwards, Travis Hunter, Xavier Weaver, Jimmy Horn Jr. Like, it's crazy, man. Dion's other son, Shedeur Sanders, led them in tackles. Like, it was a crazy game. Shout out to TCU, though. They didn't back down. They didn't go away. They just couldn't get stops in the second half. And you got to credit Shedeur Sanders. 3rd and 15, he throws it up to Travis Hunter, and he goes and gets it. Like, what you going to do, man? 4th down, you got him. This is the ball game. That 4th and 2, that's the ball game right there. And Shedeur calmly stands in the pocket, sees the rusher coming, delivers a perfect ball, and Dylan Edwards did the rest. He's a true freshman. 5 catches, 135 yards, and 4 touchdowns, man. Like, stop playing. 3 touchdown catches, a touchdown run, man. 4 touchdowns in a game. First college football game. Crazy. The question is, can they bottle this up and do this consistently? All right. Can they do this consistently? I don't know. But I'm damn sure going to be there to watch and see. They got USC. They got Oregon in 3 weeks. They got USC the week after Oregon. That USC game will lose some luster if they're not playing well by then. But if they're undefeated, and USC probably will be undefeated by the time they see Colorado, if they get to that game, that will be a heavyweight fight that we haven't seen in the Pac-12 probably since Marcus Mariota at Oregon and some big game against maybe Stanford or somebody like that. I don't know. So that could be a big one. And this might be the last year of the Pac-12 as we know it. So it might go out with a bang. Who knows? Anyway, let's get in. I don't want to just act as if this was the only game today that I watched, because it wasn't. Let me talk about Notre Dame. I'm a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. Let me just talk about this. We destroyed Tennessee State. Eddie George is the head coach of Tennessee State. They hung in early. This was a 7-3 game, and we fumbled on a kickoff where our guy was knocked out on his feet, fumbled the ball. They recovered it. Had a chance to either take the lead or cut it to a 1-point game at 7-6. They missed the field goal. They literally had 3 plays, and I don't know if they gained a yard, kicked the field goal, missed it, and from that point forward, the wheels came off. They didn't score another point in the game, and they lose 56-3. That's not important. This is what you're supposed to do. This is the thing that lets you know Notre Dame is a little bit different this year. I get it. Last year was the first year with our head coach, but Sam Hartman changes everything. Like, every year with Notre Dame, I always question, do we have enough talent to play with the likes of a Georgia, Alabama, the SEC powers that be? I know we can play with Clemson. They're not that far away. We can play with USC. They're not that far away. We play those teams we play Clemson in particular USC in particular almost every year. We got Ohio State in like 3 weeks. I'm about to talk about that because I watched that game. Not impressed, but that doesn't mean that'll be the same Ohio State team that we see a month from now. But last year, we lost to Marshall. Like, we struggled with Navy. This was a team that didn't beat up teams that they were supposed to when they were supposed to. We lost to Stanford last year. Stanford was horrible last year, right? So these teams don't stand a chance this year. And the biggest difference is consistency at the quarter. Sam Hartman feel like he's been in college football for 8 years. Like, he feel like he about 27 years old. Full beard, looked like a grown ass. I'm talking about, like, he looked like somebody's daddy. And not like, oh, he got a 1-year-old. No, he looked like somebody, he got an 8-year-old. That's how long his ass been in college football. You can win a championship with a dude that's been playing that much football like he did, like he has been. And we got playmakers. We got a solid defense. Ohio State will be the true test. I'm impressed with the fact that we've done what we were supposed to do these first 2 weeks, 42-3 over Navy, 56-3 over Tennessee State. The spread was 49 points, and we covered it. I didn't think we were going to cover it, personally. That's the type of time we on this year. I want to see what happens when the level of competition is ramped up. Can we consistently run the football? Can we consistently get stops on defense? Can Sam Hartman, he's only had 6 incompletions this season. 3 in the first game, 3 in this game. Okay? He didn't play in the second half against Tennessee State. Obviously, the competition will get tougher. Clemson's on the schedule. Ohio State's on the schedule. USC's on the schedule. Trust me, if we're trash, we'll be figured out. If we're fraudulent, we will be uncovered. If we're good, you'll know we're good, and we deserve to be wherever we get. So anyway, I digress. See what else I watched today. So I watched a little bit of Michigan, East Carolina. Free Harbaugh shirts, really? Seriously? Get out of my face with that. McCarthy played well today, though. If he can play at a high level, Michigan will be a problem this year, again. And as of right now, the way I see it, they're better than Ohio State. But we'll see. Again, first game, don't want to overreact, but Michigan looks like they're the class of the Big Ten right now as I sit here watching one game. Okay, so it's easy to say that after one game. Again, the best versions of these teams probably won't happen until 5-6 weeks down the road as they start to hit their stride. Keep in mind, there's no preseason in college football. So the first time you see a true opponent is when you play your first game of the season. So take that with a grain of salt. Michigan's got a returning quarterback. Ohio State starting a guy that hasn't started for them before. So big difference there. Tennessee, Virginia, I watched that game. They got a quarterback. Let me get his name real quick. Joe Milton III. I watched him last year because he started for Tennessee last year. He didn't start for Tennessee last year. They had Hendon Hooker, but he came in when Hendon Hooker got injured late in the season last year. So I did know of Joe Milton III, but watching him, he gives Tennessee a shot because just like Hendon Hooker, he's a tremendous athlete, got a big arm, very, very athletic. I like what I saw from him today. And you know what? Tennessee's back. You know, with Tennessee, you always got to be wary of them because when they get solid quarterback play, they seem like they're back. But then when that quarterback goes away, like, for instance, Josh Dobbs, when he was there, Tennessee was good for like 3 years. Then he left, and they were back to being ass. So I wasn't sure if it was just the Hendon Hooker effect, and then they were going to go back to being ass. But Joe Milton looks like he's going to keep that ship afloat, and I think they got a really good coach too. That helps as well. I think they got a really good head coach, and that goes a long way in college sports when you got a really good coach, and I think they do have one in Tennessee and Rocky Top, and they destroyed Virginia. And keep in mind, this was Virginia's first game since the shootings on the campus where they lost, I think, 3 players. So this was an emotional game for the Cavaliers. Their head coach said after the game, just us taking the field was a win. So they're trying to put the pieces of that program back together after losing some of their players last year to senseless gun violence on campus. I watched Oklahoma, Arkansas State. That was a massacre. 73-0. Dylan Gabriel was just ridiculous in that game. They got athletes like we always see. The thing that I want to see with Oklahoma is the thing we always want to see now that Brent Venables is their head coach. This is his second year. Is can he get them to play defense? That's always been the knock on Oklahoma. You know, going all the way back to the hell is my man name with the damn visor? Stoops, Bob Stoops. Then it was Lincoln Riley. They never play defense. That was always the knock on Oklahoma. Brent Venables, we know, came from Clemson, and that's all he does is coach defense. So let's see if they can get their shit together defensively, because we know they got the weapons on offense. Iowa, I watched a little bit of Iowa State. Iowa is ranked. Oklahoma is 20th. Just so you know, Tennessee is ranked 12th in the nation. Iowa is ranked 25th. They beat Utah State 24-14. It was just weird watching Iowa's offense. It doesn't look like Iowa. They were spreading Utah State out. They were throwing it deep. I was like, is this the same Iowa that I've come to know and love over the years? So that was a little bit different. I had to readjust my eyes. I think they had a former Michigan quarterback. Yeah, Cade McNamara is their quarterback. So it was kind of weird watching them like throw the ball around the yard. That's not, as we all know, that is not Iowa football. Let's see what else I was able to take a gander at. Ohio State, Indiana. Let's get to that one. So 23-3, Ohio State's ranked 3rd in the nation behind Georgia and Michigan, who are 1 and 2. This was probably the game that I was most disappointed in terms of the quarterback play from both teams. So Indiana had zero confidence in their quarterback's ability to throw the football. I mean, it was 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and they were running speed options. Like, that's the type of time they were on. So they didn't have a shot. If you don't have any confidence in your quarterback's ability to drop back on 3rd and 5 and throw the football, you can't win. I think they had 88 yards of like total offense at halftime. Let me see how many total yards of offense they had in the game. I mean, it was pathetic. It made me mad because this was a game Ohio State could have lost. And but they were never in danger of losing because they ended up with 153 yards of total offense. Did Indiana 82 passing yards in the game? 82 passing yards in the game. It was a train wreck. But Ohio State was just as bad throwing the football in the first half. It got better in the second half. Let me see their quarterback's name. I guess I should learn it because he didn't look as bad in the second half, but he's got a long way to go. Kyle McCord. He's a junior. Boy, he was struggling. He should have been picked off at least 2 or 3 times in this game. And he missed some receivers. And with the talent that they have, let me see. They got 2 dudes that are NFL wide receivers right now. Igbuka and Marvin Harrison Jr. Neither one of those dudes cracked 20 yards receiving in this game. So, come on, mama. So, that's the type of time they on. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. So, obviously, it's the first game of the season. I don't want to overreact. But if Indiana had any type of offense, this game was 10-3 at half. Indiana had the ball multiple times with chances to either cut into that lead or tie the ball game, and they could do nothing with the football. And Ohio State was never threatened. They knew Indiana couldn't do anything with the football. They had a really good punt return on one possession that set them up with great field position. They couldn't do nothing with it. And, you know, it was funny. The guy that was calling the game said, you know, this is why Ohio State wasn't worried about taking this game, you know, week 1 on the road at Indiana. It was so quiet. Ohio State was on offense, right? And it was so quiet. You would have thought that Ohio State was at home and they were working on offense, and the crowd knew it, and so they was quiet because they won't make no noise. It was a really sterile environment. They're gonna have to play a lot better than this shit if they're gonna, you know, contend in because right now, from what I see, Penn State's better than them. Now, again, one game, don't want to overreact, but we know quarterbacks are what's going to ultimately put you over the top in college football. And this Kyle McCord kid, he has some talent. I'm not going to sit here and act like he don't, but that wasn't good enough at all. There was no rhythm to this. They couldn't even run the football. I'm going to tell you what, they would tan those Ohio State running backs ass up. That's what's going to happen. Teams going to say, you know what, Travion, and all those boys, they ain't running this route. They were run blitzing the shit out of Ohio State. Tackles for loss in the back. They were lighting them running backs up. Well, we're going to force this clown back here to beat us. Good luck. And he didn't prove that he can do it right now. So they're going to have to be better than that. But they had the right opponent to try to figure some shit out. That's for sure. They weren't playing Indiana State, so you can get your shit together. They played an actual team in their conference in Indiana on the road. But they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. They knew who they were playing. They picked the right opponent, and it allowed them to kind of figure some shit out. Ryan Day was not happy after the game, and nor should he have been, because this was not a good performance. But they get the win 23-3, and they got a lot of work to do. Boise State, Washington. The score doesn't do this game justice. This was actually a close game early on. But then Michael Penix Jr. just went slam off. He missed a lot of throws. This game could have been out of reach a lot sooner than it actually got out of hand. He threw 5 touchdown passes today. He could have thrown 7 had he not missed some open receivers down the field. But Jesus. It's like it felt like every other pass was like a deep shot down the field for Washington. Like, do y'all throw anything underneath? He was just loading up and chucking that bitch, and 9 times out of 10, somebody was open down the field. And it only really boiled down to, did he hit him or not? Did he hit the open receiver or not? 56-19. Washington's a talented football team. They're going to be in the mix. They're ranked 10th right now. And I want to see what happens when you force Michael Penix Jr. to check it down, because he loves to go deep. This is going back to his time at Indiana, right? He loves to chuck it deep. Feels like that's all he's been doing since he got to Washington. He got to UW, and that's all he's been doing is throwing the ball deep. I want to see when teams try to take away the deep shot and say, nah, you got to go underneath, and see if he's disciplined enough to take what the defense is giving him, use his legs, what may have you. That's what I want to see. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when somebody does that. When they run into an Oregon, somebody can match their athleticism, quarterback play with Bo Nix, that sort of thing. It'll be interesting to see what happens then when they run into somebody like that. Boise they hung in early, but they didn't have enough. Texas and Rice. Texas is the 11th rated team in the nation. Rice hung in there for a while. So I saw something wild in this game. JT Daniels is the first quarterback in college football history to start for 4 different FBS programs in a career. COVID is just changing shit, boy, because first of all, JT Daniels stinks. So the fact that he got 4 different shots is amazing. This man started out his career at Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. Then he went to USC. It might have been, I might be flip-flopping it, but I think he started out at Georgia. Then he went to USC. Then he went to West Virginia. Now he's at Rice, okay? And he stunk every single place he's been. And if he didn't stink, he got injured. But whatever the case may be, he was starting his first game at Rice, and he looked just like the JT Daniels I've always come to know and love. 2 interceptions, erratic as hell, taking bad sacks, inaccurate. I don't know why the hell he keeps getting opportunities. But anyway, they hung in for a little while. Texas with Quinn Ewers, who everyone wants to, make to be this, amazing quarterback prospect. I still don't see it with him. Am I missing something? Apparently he cut weight this year to get into better shape. He was like 215, 220 last year. He's now 195. I guess to be a little bit more athletic and spry. But I will tell you this, though. What I did see in this game was Texas has a tight end that I didn't know about. They got a brother out here that this brother right here. What the uff? You ain't supposed to be that big and that fast. He caught a seam ball and cooked the entire Rice defense. And, you know, and pun was intended there. Cooked Rice. Did you? No, you didn't get that. Don't worry about it. You know how sometimes a dude run fast, you like, are you really that fast, or are they just that slow? I always question Big Ten guys. Like, you really that fast, or is that Big Ten fast? Nah. You know when you see somebody running fast. They said he set the Texas record last year for most, I think, catches in a season or touchdown catches in a season. He did something. I see why. He's a problem. He's on my radar. I don't even know if he's a minor and if I shouldn't be looking at him because I don't deal with minors. But damn it, man. He looks good. He looks good, man. I don't know his name. Let me go find out his name right now. Let's see. Dion Sanders. That's what I think his name is. Let me go make sure that that's the tight end. And I ain't just making up some shit here. Yeah, he's a junior, so he's not a minor. 6'4", 243. He looked like he run every bit of a 4.48. I might be overrated. He looked like he run a sub 4.5, man. He was moving on that 44-yard touchdown. Yikes. Zoinks! Scoob! Buffalo, Wisconsin. I got a little bit of that. I didn't get much of that, though. But Luke Fickell made his debut as the Wisconsin head coach, so that was the noteworthy thing there. I didn't watch a lot of this game, so I can't really talk about it. I watched the tail end of it. They already had the game well in hand by the time I got there, so I can't really add anything to that particular game. Let's see. Georgia and UT Martin. I got a little glimpse of this. I knew this was going to get out of hand quick, but Carson Beck is the new quarterback in Georgia, or at Georgia, rather. They didn't do anything really to expose him to anything. They kind of kept it pretty basic. Brock Bowers, they got the ball in the hands of playmakers. Makai Muse had a little slip screen he caught and ran for a touchdown. So they didn't do much with this kid. I want to see when he gets tested what he does. He's an athlete. They kept it safe. So we'll see. You know, it's hard to really gauge what he'll be when the pressure's on. But so far, so good. Good debut for him as they rout UT Martin 48-7 as the number one team. And I didn't realize this, but that's back-to-back for Georgia, right? So they're going to try to do something that no other team has done since 1934, which is win 3 in a row. So they will have the biggest target on their back ever. And we'll see what they do with that. USC, Nevada. So let's talk about Caleb Williams, man. I told y'all last year I wanted to not like Caleb Williams. I so wanted him to be not as good as advertised because so many people was on this man's jock. And I was like, he can't be as good as everybody's making him out to be. He's got to be. You guys are telling a story. And then I watched him 2 or 3 times last year, and then including against my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and I said, shit, he's actually as good as everybody says he is. And he won the Heisman Trophy last year, and in the first 2 games of the season, he's done nothing to relinquish that trophy. God, he's good. There was a play last week. He drops the ball. It was on some water boy shit. Remember when the dude dropped the ball on the ground? He said, oh, he dropped the ball. He dusts it off, picks it up, and runs for a touchdown before our guys even know what happened. That's what he did last week. He dropped the snap, picked the shit up, dusted it off, flipped the laces around, and then flung it like 45 yards in the air to a receiver for a touchdown. Just another day, just another play for Caleb Williams. Today, he had a ridiculous video game joystick type of shit, where he dodges in and out of the pocket. A guy's coming. He does this crazy agility jump cut backwards to avoid that guy. Runs backwards another 5 yards and then throws an absolute dart. I mean, I'm talking about a laser shot to a receiver who's standing at the end zone, who doesn't have to move. All he did was put his hands up, and the ball just said, okay. On the move? Really? That's what we're doing, Caleb? Okay. All right. Jeez. They say he's the next Patrick Mahomes. I'm inclined to believe that shit. He hasn't shown me anything to the contrary. Like, he's a guy worth fighting for number one right now. Now, don't sleep on Drake May, but this ain't that. All right, just so you know, this is a little bit different. This Caleb Williams hits a little different. So, yikes. They win going away, what was it, 65-7? What was it tonight? 66-14 over Nevada. They're 2-0 now, number 6 team in the nation. The question with them is what it is every year for a Lincoln Riley coach team. Can they play enough defense to win a national championship or even make it to the playoffs? Because last year when they saw Utah, they lost their minds twice. What happens when they see Utah again? What happens when they see Oregon? What happens when they see Notre Dame? We'll see. They got teams on the schedule that are going to push them. What happens when they see Colorado in 5 weeks? Who knows? We'll see. We know they can score with anybody. Can they stop teams that can score? They haven't been tested yet. San Jose State, Nevada, they haven't been tested yet. We'll find out when that time comes. Let's see. What else did I take a gander at today? UTSA and Houston. I watched that game. Houston wins 17-14. So Houston has a quarterback, or UTSA has a quarterback. Let me find out his name. So this is that COVID shit, man. They got a Frank Harris. Man been in college football. Man has been in college for 7 years. He's got his bachelor's and his master's degree. He's been in college football so long. This is, I think, his 8th season in college football. 8th! Let that sink in. I think he's been a starter for 7 years. That man's had a career, a full-blown career, and he turned the ball over like he was a freshman. I was so disappointed in him tonight. They should have won that game. They lost 17-14 on the road at Houston, and they had every opportunity to win that game. And they turned it over 3 times like their minds was going bad. They had a chance to get a stop late in the game. I thought they got hosed on a spot that I thought would have brought up a 4th and inches. They weren't going to stop them no damn way. And so they lose that game. They had every opportunity to win that game, and they just didn't. Anyway, I digress. Alabama and MTSU. So Middle Tennessee State was the sacrificial lamb for number 4 Alabama. So Jalen Milroe, we saw him at Alabama when Bryce Young got injured last year. We saw Jalen Milroe come in and start a game last year. So we knew he was the heir apparent. He was the next guy in line at Alabama. And we knew the athleticism. We saw it last year. My question with him is, can he throw the football consistently? Showed a little bit of that today. Had a deep ball for a touchdown. He had a crazy play where the ball is fumbled. He picks it up. He runs one way, stops, reverses field, runs the other way, and scores a touchdown. And you go, what the F? So, yeah, they scored 14 points in every single quarter did Alabama as they rout Middle Tennessee State 56-7. Much like I said with some of the other teams, the warm-up game. No, most teams don't do the whole, crazy ranked opponent right out of the gates anymore because it's so hard to overcome that if you lose that game. So most teams shy away from that, and you get a warm-up. They had a warm-up. They did what they were supposed to do with that warm-up. We'll see what he does when the competition becomes a little bit stiffer. Penn State, 7th team in the nation against West Virginia. I was able to watch that game. Drew Aller is their new quarterback now that Sean Clifford has entered the NFL. And he looked good, man. I was impressed with this kid. And the first touchdown of the game to this Keandre Lambert Smith dude, who's now wearing the number 1 jersey. We know the number 1 jersey is really big at Penn State. Same with 11 on the defensive side for the linebackers. This dude was everywhere. They couldn't cover him. So he's a guy that I'm looking out for. I like Penn State. They got their defense flies around. They this Drew Aller kid looks legit. I want to see a little bit more of them to see, because I like their talent. I want to see if I love their talent. I wasn't blown away by some of the other skill position dudes, but like generally Penn State, they good for an athletic tight end. I need to see if that exists. You know, what does the run game look like? I wasn't blown away by the run game tonight. So I just want to see kind of all of those things kind of come together, figure out what they got going on there, and see if this is a legit operation. But Drew Aller, 21 and 29, 325, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was fan-effing-tastic tonight. So Penn State wins that game 38-15. Duke's Mayo Classic, North Carolina versus South Carolina. This was a big game, a display as well for North Carolina's quarterback. As I mentioned, he's in that conversation to be the number 1 overall pick, Drake May. I don't think he's going to be the number 1 overall pick, but stranger things have happened. He looked good tonight too. Let me get his numbers real quick. 24, 32, 269, 2 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks, however, in the game. But I like that kid. And I think he's good. I didn't want to like him either, because it was so much hype surrounding him, and they tried to shit on my guy Sam, like this dude is way better than him. I was like, come on, bro. Sam brought that program back to relevance. They were shit before Sam got there. So I wasn't trying to hear that, but Drake May is actually a good player, and they did some good things. He had a touchdown though. He threw up. I was like, that's some bullshit. He threw that up. Yeah, he was under duress. Threw up a YOLO ball, and his tight end came back and caught it and bailed him out. So he got away with some foolishness tonight. But I don't see the fascination across the field with the Spencer. About to call his ass Spencer Strider. I don't see the fascination with the South Carolina quarterback, Spencer Rattler. He was at Oklahoma. Obviously, that went off the rails. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Caleb Williams came and took his job. If I'm not mistaken, I could be a little off on that one. But Caleb Williams came and took his job. And then Caleb left to go to USC. But the damage was done. Spencer Rattler, wasn't shit. And I don't know if Dylan Gabriel might have finished him off or what, but he transferred to South Carolina. Last year he looked like the same old Spencer Rattler at the beginning of the season. Then he got hot at the end of the season last year. And started with that. I felt like it started with that game against Tennessee where your boy got hurt, and they went off, and then they won a bunch of games, scored a bunch of points. He was at the center of all of their that resurgence they had last year. And 30 of 39, 353, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He is intriguing, but I'm not a big fan of his. But we'll see what becomes of his season. Just like I'm not a fan of Bo Nix, right? But both of these dudes are in Mel Kiper's top 5 of quarterbacks for the draft, including this dude from Duke that I've never heard of, that I got to watch on Monday to see who the hell this guy is. But I find all of this fascinating because I'm looking at Shedeur Sanders and I'm saying, these dudes better than him? Because I don't think so. So that's why I'm really intrigued by a lot of these quarterbacks. I watched Old Dominion and Virginia Tech. I was so disappointed. This was a what was the score at halftime? This is a 16-10 game at halftime. We were right there. We had the ball to start the second half. We're driving, and they put this transfer running back from a community college who went to a JUCO in the game, first action of the game, and this clown fumbles the ball. And we were in plus territory. We were on the move. We fumbled. And that was it. That was all she wrote. They went down and scored a touchdown after he fumbled. We went back. We answered. We scored a touchdown. And then they went right back down the field and scored. We couldn't stop number 0. What's Virginia Tech's number 0? We couldn't stop this dude, man. He was kicking our ass. He was getting behind the defense. He had to have over 120 yards receiving. Let me see. No, he didn't. Let's see. Is this the dude? What number is he? Yeah, Ali Jennings. We couldn't stop this dude, man. He had 2 touchdown catches. He had a deep ball on a 3rd and like 7 when we were trying to get off the field after we had just scored. We couldn't stop them. They ran away 36-17. Kind of disappointed that game went the way that it did. So that was my day of college football. I think I gave y'all every single game that I took a look at. Anything that piqued your interest in week number 1, I'd love to hear from you guys. Obviously, the biggest game of week 1 of college football is tomorrow, LSU, Florida State. Looking forward to that. That's, if I'm not mistaken, 2 top 7 teams in the nation. I think Florida State's 7th and LSU is ranked 5th. Let me check and see. Just 8th. Florida State is 8th, and LSU is ranked 5th. So 2 top 8 teams. The only game that features 2 ranked teams, period, playing one another, let alone 2 in the top 10. So obviously that's the biggest game. We got 3 games in total tomorrow, but none bigger than LSU and Florida State in the Camping World kickoff game. They did this last year. It was an epic finish to that game, if you recall. So looking forward to seeing what the hell happens in that game. Let's see. All right. My Braves are now 3-0 versus the Dodgers this weekend. We got the 4-2 victory. I'm loving life right now. We first team in baseball to hit 90 wins. And we pretty much separated ourselves from the Dodgers. They were making a hard charge at the number 1 seed in the in Major League Baseball, but in the NL in particular, they had a really ridiculous August. But nothing like a hot ass Atlanta Braves team to cool your ass off. So now we look for the sweep. I ain't gonna be greedy. If they want the game on Sunday, they can have it. I'm not gonna be greedy. I got 3 already. Just had to put those boys in a proper place. Like, hey, understand this. And they didn't even get all of our dudes. I don't think they saw Spence. Did they see Spence? I think Spence went on Wednesday against the Rockies. They might have got Spence. They might have got Spence in the first game of the series. And I know they got Max yesterday, and Max blessed them. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section and we get out of here. Barrett Downing, been a member for 24 months. Y'all know what it is. Stand up. We in a building. Barrett writes, first of all, what Colorado did against TCU was impressive. You're damn right it was. Very, very, very impressive. You can't help but be impressed with what they were able to do. Let me see if I can put her down. I'll be right back. See if she'll let me put her down. It's much more like it. So that was super impressive. Now, the question is, and this is the thing, and everybody's gonna be gunning for Dion because he was talking cold, hard cash after the game. He kept those receipts. I love the energy. That's the type of time that I'm on right now because I feel the same way about Sam Howell. I heard all the shit you was talking, and I kept all the receipts. So don't try to come like shit sweet after the game, after he, proves you wrong. You're like, don't try to come at me like you weren't doubting us. But it's one game. Like, trust me, if they go next week and they lay an egg at home against Nebraska, everything that he did today, they're going to throw in his face next week. So he got to be careful with that. But he don't care. And I'm glad he don't care. He don't give a damn. So we're going to find out if this is sustainable or not. Was this just the energy that you get from that first game? You've been hearing all the shit that everyone's been talking all off season about how you can't do this, you can't do that. You got a terrible roster. You shouldn't be able to go into the transfer portal and get and revamp your entire roster in one season. And, you know, this is not how you're supposed to build your team. And even doing that, they're not that good. You know, we heard all of that stuff. Okay. Well, you knew they were going to come out with a point to prove in the first game. Now let's see what they follow it up for, you know, as an encore. That's what I'm looking to see. Freddie Lee, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Stand up. We in the building. You know what it is. Been a member for 22 months. No, I can't do it too loud. She right over here asleep. She'll be right back over here. So I can't do it, but it's so loud. Says Lou, our Notre Dame Fighting Irish looking good. First couple of weeks, outscored our opponents 98-6. Yes, it was Navy and Tennessee State, but they did what they were supposed to do. Leave no doubt. Hartman looks legit. Hashtag NHO. Absolutely. Everything you said, spot on. Check, check, and check. Like, we weren't doing this last year. We weren't beating up teams that we were supposed to beat up. You know, we were just getting by, or we lost to Marshall at home. We lost to Stanford last year, a bad Stanford team, right? So, yeah, no, this is what you're supposed to do. And I've always felt, even when we had Ian Book, I never thought we could win anything worth, you know, note, because it was still Ian Book. I think you can win with Sam Hartman. I really, truly do. So, now it's just about the talent that we have. And we're going to find out how good this talent really is. Because I've always said another thing with Notre Dame, we haven't gotten elite talent since Lou Holtz left. I lied. We had some elite talent when Tyrone Willingham was there. But and Charlie Weiss won with his talent at the beginning. Charlie couldn't recruit. And we saw that real quick. And Charlie won with Tyrone Willingham's guys. That was the last time we got elite talent. We haven't gotten elite level skill position players and talent since then. That's when we went toe-to-toe with that vaunted USC team with Reggie Bush and, you know, Matt Leinart and Dwayne Jarrett, and Mike Williams and Kerry Colbert and all of them dudes. Steve Smith, I don't know if they was all on the same team. It felt like they had a goddamn all-star team. It felt like all their asses were all on the same team. They probably weren't, but we could go toe-to-toe with a team like USC. That was one of the greatest college football teams I've ever seen. And we had the talent to go toe-to-toe with them because we could recruit in those days. I want to see if our talent is up to speed. I like some of the stuff we have. I like some of the things that I've seen. I just need to see more of it. I need to see what's legit and what's not. What is this Tennessee State and Navy good? Or can you actually do that to Clemson? Can you actually do that to Ohio State? We'll find out soon enough. We got enough teams on the schedule that we can't hide. If we legit, we'll prove it. If we're not, we'll be unmasked, right, at some point. Dejan Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Dejan Bell writes, Lou, I can't lie. I doubted the NHO, but I'm on board now. By the way, whenever you watch USC, be wary of number 19 DB Jalen Smith. He's from Coach Snoop as well. Okay, so, you know, Coach Snoop does a lot of he coaches up a lot of young kids out there in California. So I'll watch plenty of USC this year. So I'll be able to figure and see how good this dude is and that. But hey, you're not the only one that doubted Sam, and there's still a lot of doubters out there. And I get it. There should be skepticism. Like everybody shouldn't be as gung ho on Sam as I am. That's fine. You'll find out in due time. So I'm glad you're on board though. King of the North. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. King of the North writes, I never doubted Coach Prime. I did, however, doubt Shedeur. He really impressed me today. So cool in the pocket. He was. I thought he had the skill set and the talent. You know when you see talent. I don't give a shit what level it's on. You know when you see talent. You know, I felt like they were just hating, honestly. Like they just wanted to not like him because he was Dion's son. And because you're gonna sit here and tell me what you saw him do, albeit in the SWAC. I don't give a shit. What's the difference between what he was doing in the SWAC and what Malik Willis was doing at Liberty? Like, give me a break. You're trying to tell me the level of competition that Malik Willis was playing against was all that great? Yeah, right. But yet Malik Willis was held in such high regard. Stop playing with me, man. I just think they didn't want to like the kid because I watched him play a lot at Jackson State, and I was like, yo, why aren't they talking more about Shedeur Sanders? Like, this dude is talented, super talented. But they just tried to dismiss. Oh, he's playing at the HBCU, so they just tried to dismiss him. I'm glad he's at a Power 5 now. You can't ignore him now. If he keeps doing what he did today, ain't no way he's not better than Spencer Rattler and Bo Nix and all these clowns that they got in front of him. Are you kidding me? Yeah, right. This guy at Duke. Let me go look at this dude because his name. Because this dude at Duke he's ranked 3rd among quarterbacks by Mel Kiper. 3rd. Never heard of this clown. So I need to see what the hell this dude is about. Let's see what his name is. Riley Leonard is his name. So I want to see what this dude is about. Is he Daniel Jones? Is he a pocket passer? Is he an athlete? Oh, I'll find out. I'll find out tomorrow. No worries, or Monday rather. No worries. But I like what I saw out of Shedeur. That's for damn sure. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Playing your most talented player on both sides of the ball is exactly the kind of outside the box thinking that makes Dion a great coach. It is, but not everybody can pull that off. Like, I gotta learn this kid's name. I already looked it up, but I forgot it already. So I'm gonna look. It starts with a T. I don't want to call him Trevor because that's not his name. It's Travis. It's Travis something. That's what it is. Let me find out what his name is, though, so I can stop forgetting his name. Travis Hunter. Not everybody can do what Travis Hunter did. Like, that was as impressive a performance as I've seen. Again, I told you, you got to go back to, like, Charles Woodson, man. You know, Percy, I mean, not Percy. There were other guys that played both ways, but not like that. You know, this dude played 60 snaps on defense and, like, another 55 on offense. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, seriously. That's insane, bro. And to have 11 catches for 119 yards or whatever it was, and a pick, and he should have had 3 picks. He dropped 2, and he dropped a touchdown as well. Like, this man could have had one of the greatest days in college football history had he made all the plays that were there for him to make. He dropped 2 picks. The pick that he made was incredible. Do you know, first of all, that wasn't his responsibility. He saw a guy running wide open in the flats, came off of his guy, and fell into that, fell underneath that. Then the presence of mind to not only grab the football, right, but turn the body control to contort his body, turn his body so that the ball doesn't hit the ground. Josh Doxson, I'm talking to you, and make sure that he protects the football to secure the interception. Like, that shit was incredible. Like, they don't win the game without that play, because even if he drops that pick, they still get a field goal out of that possession. They won the game by 3, mind you. So understand how big of a play that they were inside the 5 when he picked that pass off. he was 3rd and 15. They scored a touchdown on this drive. 3rd and 15, they're down 4. And he goes and runs a seam ball on 3rd and 15 and goes and catches it. Tight coverage. Guy draped all over his back. Like, Travis Hunter was an MVP in this game. Not everybody can do what he did. It theoretically, like, if you got a super talented dude and he can play both sides, that's great. But most dudes can't play both sides of the football like that, with that kind of stamina either. So, Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Big Money Sonny writes, Prime did his thing, Lou. Yeah, he did. He did. And he did his thing during the game. First of all, Prime looks like Prime, right? Did you see the shades? Like, he was stunting on him stunning shades on the sidelines. The whole get up was like so prime-ish, right? And then stunning on him after the game was over, man. How can you not love Prime, man? Prime time, prime time, prime time. How can you not love that, man? Ethan Dykes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Ethan Dykes writes, who the F is the Monarchs quarterback? The man is Buns. So we've gone over a whole reconstruction. I'm going to tell you his name here in a second. But we're rebuilding at Old Dominion. It's going to be some lean years here. We weren't good last year. We're not going to be good this year. They're going to have to, try to build this thing up. So understand that it's not going to be clean and you're going to struggle a little bit. But I thought he gave us a shot. He started off really bad. And then I thought he gave us a shot in the third quarter. And unfortunately, the defense didn't show up. And, you had the big fumble, as I mentioned already. Both of the quarterbacks, I think, got the same first name for both teams. His name is Grant Wilson. ODU's quarterback is Grant Wilson. Virginia Tech's quarterback is Grant Wells. That's why I kept getting mixed up. So I didn't want to call the wrong name. So, yeah, Grant Wilson, he was 13 of 25 for 94 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. But he also ran it 19 times for 81 yards. So he didn't have as bad of a game as it may seem. Obviously, the passing numbers are grotesque. But his thing is he's more of a dual threat, a guy that can tuck it and run. And he was hurting Virginia Tech on the edges with the keepers, with the read option. It just, unfortunately, they didn't do enough. They just couldn't do enough. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy, Big Money Sonny writes, Travis Hunter, are you my new brother? And he missed out on 2 TDs. Yeah, he did. Straight athlete. Good to see you, my good brother. FYI, we rocking this year, Lou. Let's effing go. You know what it is already. You already know what it is. Let me see something. Let me see. I don't think I got it in here, though. No, I don't got it in here. I'm about to say, you already know what it is. You know the vibes. But anyway. Travis Hunter is, I'm going to be watching him closely. That's a hell of a start to his Colorado Buffs career. See what he does for an encore next week again. And Nebraska, apparently, I didn't watch any of their game, but apparently their quarterback was throwing all kinds of interceptions in the red zone this week. So if that's any indication of what's to come next week, he might be able to get off and get nasty again next week too. So we'll see what happens. Duncan Wright, stand up. We in the building. You know what it is. Been a member for 11 months. Writes, what this got to do with Commanders or NFL? My channel is whatever the hell I want it to be, Duncan. Just take another drink and relax. How about that? Okay? I wanted to come up here and talk NBA, I could. I wouldn't because it's not football related. But if I wanted to, I could. It's the LouieTeeNetwork, not the Duncan Wright Network. All right. So, any other questions? You know you're my guy, though. Anyway, that's the last comment. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of y'all were trying to tell me his name was Travis Hunter. Yeah, look, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all said that boy Travis Hunter is a mutant. Hey, look, that's crazy. Let's see. Let's get back to the comments. I got a couple more supers. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Big Money Sonny writes, nah, F that. Let's get that NHO, Lou. Let everybody know how your network works. I don't have it lined up. I was gonna play the little soundbite. I could load it up real quick. I was gonna play the little soundbite, but I ain't have it loaded up, so I wasn't gonna worry about it. But since you just said something, why not? So let me go ahead and find it real quick and pull it up. All right, why not? If I can find it. Let's see. I think this is it right here. New how order. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Yeah, you know how we get down over here. You know the vibes. You know how we get down. CGM 87. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. CGM 87 writes, Lou, target and penalties out of control. Fire River Ron. Dude was cheeks as NFL ref, now ruining college. Oh, I didn't know that's what he was doing now. Is that where he is? Al Riveron? Is that where he at now? College football? I saw the targetings, man. Like the ODU game itself, we had like 4 targetings in that game. They ended up like overturning like 2 of them, but I'm like, damn, you gonna stop every single play for this shit? One of them was like so not targeting. Like it was so obvious on the field in real time. There you go. Come on, bro. Seriously, what are we doing right now? Targeting is out of control. In this first game of the college, well, this first week rather, week 1. Technically, it's week 2. Week 0 was last week, but this week 1 in particular, I saw a lot of targeting penalties. It's definitely out of control. Really out of control. And I hate it because a dude is getting ejected. If you call targeting and it's upheld, a dude is getting ejected. And if it's in the second half, he's also ineligible for the first half of the next week's game. So that's some big shit, man. Like I hate that for the player. Ethan Dykes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, that Virginia Tech quarterback might be all right. We will get them next year, though, Louie. Also, can't wait for season opener. How concerned are you about Chase playing? I'm not really concerned at all. I think he's going to play, but we'll see. I don't know. I just don't want that dynamic of will he, won't he, like we went through last year. That shit was exhausting. I don't want to go through that again. So I'd love to have him out there. If he's not out there, same thing I feel about Terry. We should be able to win whether he's on the field or not in week 1. I would love him out there, but if he's not, we should be able to take care of business. It's Arizona. And I hate to shit on Arizona like that, but they trash and we need to destroy them whether Terry and Chase are out there or not. So I'm not overly concerned, to be honest with you. Mike Jank, stand up. You know what it is. We in the building. Mike Jank, Been a member for 10 months. Right. Louie Lou. My Gators down bad, man, but I'm still watching you. Looking for revenge. Drake voice. Yeah, y'all down bad, man. Y'all were on Thursday against Utah. It's all bad right now, man. And it sucks because this has been your MO. You know, you had a slight reprieve with Anthony Richardson, but even he was up and down. But your problem has always been quarterback. And you right back the way you were before. You back at square one. You ain't got a damn signal caller. You know, generally we can count on Florida to throw a athletic brother back there that can't throw to save his damn life. But yeah, it looks like y'all gonna have a rough year, a rough go of it this year. And the bad part is, I think defensively, y'all might be good enough to cause some problems. You're not gonna be able to score no points, man. It's gonna be a struggle for you every single week where you play against a team with any kind of defense. It's gonna be a struggle, unfortunately. Daily Grind. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB Daily Grind. Right. Can we get a little Commanders lingo for a bit? I need my fix. Weekends be long without LTN. Well, that's about to come to an end, right? Monday through Friday, you'll get CNN. And then Sundays, you'll get post-game recaps. Now, I will be out of town week 2. I'll see how that day goes because I'll be in South Beach for the Broncos game, so I won't be live. But, you know, depending on how that night goes, it won't be right after the game, but I might be able to jump on live at some point. If I get back to the hotel, what I'll do is I'll take my laptop with me. And if, you know, because obviously we flying out on Monday, so we can't be out too late on Sunday. So if I get into the hotel at a reasonable time, I may set up shop and jump on with y'all to give, because I'm gonna watch the game. We going to the bar to watch the game. We going somewhere to watch the game. So it's not like I won't know what the hell happened. I just won't be talking about it. But if I can get to a computer, get somewhere, post up, I definitely will make sure that I get with y'all for week 2. But we'll talk about that more as we get closer to week 2. But yeah, you won't have to go entire weekends without, you know, some Commanders talk now, because the games are about to start next week. So that's about to be over anyway. Daily Grind. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Daily Grind. Or excuse me, Big Money Sonny, rather. Sorry about that. Big Money Sonny, my guy, Big Money Sonny. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? Who else could it be? Let's get it, Lou. You know what it is, man. You already know. You already know what type of time we on over here, man. I'm looking forward to the season. We are now starting tomorrow. We will be a week away from Commanders football. Gosh, cannot wait. Bart Scott, can't wait. You know what it is. Dejon Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Dejon writes, I just realized LB is going to be looking like a Philly gargoyle when Sam light they ass up. I just want to see what kind of moonwalking he gonna do. What he might try to give a backhanded compliment, you know. I want to see what he gonna do, because I fully expect to go in there week 4 and bless them. Obviously, we are ways away from that, and we got 3 games before them, and I want to see how we handle those 3 games, because how we handle those 3 games are gonna go a long way in determining how we feel going into that 4th game. Keep in mind, last year we played the Eagles in week number, 3 last year, and by the time we got to week 3, our offensive line was in shambles, and we had got blessed the week before by the Lions on up front, and so we felt totally different about that Eagles game going into it than we did week 1 after we beat Jacksonville. So a lot can change in 4 weeks. So we could be hella confident now. We get to that Eagles game, we're like, oh shit, here we go. So we'll see. If things go according to plan, I can't wait. I cannot wait to go into Philly, because I really don't think I think their defensive coordinator is better, and that makes a huge difference because he's willing to blitz. But I don't think they're as good defensively as they were. LB seems to think that they're better defensively. I beg to differ. I think they lost a lot defensively, and they're banking on rookies and young boys to come in and just pick up with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Javon Hargrave and the linebackers, TJ Edwards and your boy from the Chargers who went to the Cardinals. He's just thinking that they just going to other dudes just going to step in, Marcus Epps. The guys just going to step in and play ball for them like it's nothing. Okay, we'll see. I mean, he might be right. I don't think he's right, but we'll see. Mark Matthews, my guy, Double M. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? Hey, Louie. Colorado was supposed to be mid. Tennessee or UT Martin. They underestimated them and embarrassed the media more than anything, and I loved it. Can't wait to see what they do next. Facts. I mean, they were 20-point dogs on the road at TCU, who was ranked 17th in the nation. I mean, if that's not disrespect, what is? Right? So, yeah, that's why Dion was so salty after the game. That's why Dion was making sure, like, bro, I kept receipts. You thought I wasn't going to say nothing about that? Like, right after the game, Dion was like, yeah, y'all told me we were going to be trash. Y'all laughed at me. Y'all ain't laughing now, though. He said, I kept receipts. Trust me. I will be petty. That's the type of, again, that's my energy level right now. That's how I feel. So, I was smiling like a proud papa whose only son finally made it when I saw Dion going to extreme lengths to be petty. No. You just asked me a question. Answer my question. You laughing now? Do you I forgot what he asked to do. He was like, do you believe now? Something like that. Something to that effect. And the guy was trying to, go around and didn't want to answer it. And Dion said, next question. He got at him for about a good minute. And then when he was done, next question. I'm not even going to talk to you, bro. I read your little funky article where you was shitting on us. And I get it. They got a job to do. But I've always told y'all this. You're free to do whatever you want. You're not free from the consequences of your actions. You can say what you want. You can do what you want. But you're not free. You're not absolved of having to answer for the shit that you say and do. So you can say what you want. You can do what you please. But just know, if it's a criminal offense, the cops will come looking for you. U.S. Marshals will be looking to apprehend you. You can say what you want. It's a free country. But there are consequences. Okay? So you can write your little article. You're doing your job. Nothing wrong with that. But understand, if I read your article and I feel some type of way, I feel like you attacking us, trust and believe, I will call you out on your bullshit. Fair or not fair. That's life. Anyway, I loved it. So, I appreciate y'all kicking it with the kid. I told you I just wanted to come on here. So much football that I watched today. I had to get it off my chest. And normally I would wait till Monday. Not going to be working Monday. Tuesday is not a podcast day because we're getting back into the schedule. Wednesday is the first day that I'll have a podcast next week. And by that time, nobody's thinking about week 1 college football anymore. So needed to get all of this off my chest. Glad y'all could come and chop it up with the kid. I appreciate y'all. So next time you see me, it'll probably be Tuesday. We'll be getting into the getting into the nuts and bolts of everything, the meat and potatoes of the NFL season. LouieTeeNetwork season schedule starts on Tuesday. We're off and running. If you're in the LTN exclusives, you'll be hearing from me either tomorrow or Monday for sure about how you can make your picks, giving you an update, telling you where you can get all the information that you need on a regular basis. We'll be setting all that stuff up. So be on the lookout for all of that. Anyway, I digress. You guys get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your night. Still some college football on. I think BYU was playing somebody when I turned it off to do this. So I'm about to turn my TV back on. I'm gonna see how my Braves won in extra innings. We'll go check that out first. And then I'm gonna go see what BYU and some of the other late games, the night cappers, are talking about. That's why I love college football. Because you can always turn TV on at 1 o'clock in the morning. Still one of these West Coast games is on, man. It's a beautiful thing. Anyway, I digress. You guys get out of here. I'll see you guys next time. God bless. And as always, good night.
LouieTeeNetwork.